Oh, that was fast.
Episode 68.
Yeah, because I think Manfred did it in like 15 seconds, right? Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, but I
14
was actually
seconds.
watching it on my phone, right? I realized, in fact, before the intro started playing, our face show a bit first.
Yeah.
Oh, is
I
it?
see.
Yeah, for split 1 or 2 seconds, but doesn't matter. I don't think you guys
It's okay,
mind,
we're
right?
not digging our nose or whatever. it
Yeah,
is,
we're
so that's
not. We're
fine.
not. So we're always ready before we hit the live button, right?
Yes.
So tonight, it's really a special night where we have a very special guest tonight, Nizar, who is going to share with us something very crazily technical, which is, like Google Analytics. In fact, just now at the backstage, we were always like, we were already kind of like carried away by all this crazy sharing by Nizar. And seriously, even being in digital marketing for so long, Google Analytics is still an area that I'm very weak at. So tonight, I'm definitely going to enjoy tonight. But then again, guys, if you're watching this is the Three Marketeers show. And we do this every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. It's already the episode 68 tonight. Imagine doing this for 68 weeks is crazy. It's not an easy thing. But then again, it's all
having
because
fun.
of you.
We're having fun.
Okay, we're definitely having fun because we get to also at the same time learn from different people from different specializations, right? Like tonight we have Nizar. But then again, before we bring up Nizar, I will let Manfred do a bit of like sharing about his how he met Nizar and all the stories behind it, right? So yeah, because Nizar is Manfred's guest, so probably we'll let Manfred do a bit of like quick introduction over there. Manfred, you go.
Okay, sure. I think that's 7 years already since we
My
first met.
goodness, time has passed, man. That's how
Last
fast.
time I used to do B2B. Then I need Nizar's help for the website, the SEO and SEM, and even a bit of Google Analytics also. So here we invited him for Google Analytics, and interestingly, sometimes you can't access Google AdWords. You can see Google Ad campaign through Google Analytics. You realize that if the campaign bounce rate is very high, obviously something must be wrong with the ad copy. You can go inside AdWords and see. Okay, don't talk so much. Let Nizar take over.
I was lost, man. Seriously, where are you leading us to?
Trying drilling too deep
Manfred,
already. Yeah.
please, by all means, man.
This is Manfred. This is Manfred.
We're supposed to introduce the guest, not introduce
Yeah,
the
wait,
problem.
where you go? Seriously. But thank you, Manfred. Anyway, yeah, that was a very interesting introduction. But then again, welcome to the show, Nizar. It's an honor.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining
Absolutely.
us tonight. Maybe we can actually have some, maybe you can actually spend some time share with us. What is your background? What do you actually do right now, helping your clients, and how can we actually learn from you? Probably from here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, guys, everyone. Thanks for joining in and tuning in for this. I'm Nizar, and I've been in this advertising and marketing industry for the last nearly 16, 17 years already, since
Wow.
2002, I believe. Yeah, so I think that's about quite a bit of years already has accumulated.
Right.
And sometime in about, I think, about 5 to 6 years ago, I decided to go very deep into the world of analytics, right? And that's when I'm actually being shown upon a lot of all these tech stack tools. But there's one great tool which still persists up to today, which is with the Google Analytics. So that has been giving me a lot of joy for my clients, right? I'm running a management consulting agency, actually, headquartered in Singapore with offices in Jakarta and Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. And so far, what we've seen from our clients is that a lot of the questions was always asking about measurements, right? And how the internet, the digital space itself, everything there is measurable, right? So, and what are the tools which is needed? What is the platform, the softwares? And usually the one word or the brand name which comes out is still Google Analytics, because of the fact that it's, first of all, it's free.
Yep.
And secondly, it's quite easy to use, but then again, it's difficult to master.
Only to you.
No. So it's something very interesting, because you can uncover so many secrets about your visitors, the behavior traits, but just by looking at certain specific activities happening on your website, all through Google Analytics, right? So there are many things on how we can uncover this. And again, I'm very, very happy to be in this show with you guys and seeing how I can share whatever knowledge I have regarding Google Analytics and the world of measurement online. Yeah.
Cool, guys. You guys know that you're in for a treat tonight. If you have any questions, especially a lot of people came to my show or during my AMA sessions and all that, asked me, "Oh, Jason, now the attribution shit on Facebook ads is gone. I'm no longer able to see this because of the iOS 14.5. I told you guys the answer, the next best thing that you can actually fall back to is really Google Analytics. But then again, a lot of people are still struggling, in terms of understanding. But among three of us, even the three marketers over here, I'm not sure. Let me bring up GY, our fourth marketer. Are you familiar with GY? Are you familiar with Google Analytics? I am not. And I believe among four of us, I believe Andrew will be the better person because he actually went through a lot deeper stuff in trying to figure out about Google Analytics, right? But then again, I think I want to anchor tonight's so-called session more towards helping the beginners, to really understand Google Analytics. So Andrew, help me out, right? But I'll bring up our first question over here, which is, what is the significance of Google Analytics? Like you're saying that it's really to be very frank, I have not met somebody who have been specializing in Google Analytics for a long time, seriously. We have somebody who is everywhere and kind of that, but you say you actually kind of started with analytics like many years ago until now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the evolution and the experience really behind it is really, so valuable that we can learn from. But help us, especially those beginners out there. So if I'm totally new to this thing, how can I start understanding the significance of Google Analytics?
Yeah, sure. So what happens exactly is this, right, guys? Again, as what I mentioned just now, everything online is measurable, right? Especially if you guys are running any marketing campaigns, or if you guys want to understand how well is your website, one of the most basic things or digital assets you guys would have, is performing, right? So that's when a measuring tool will be very, very useful. So the measuring tool which we only use right now basically is Google Analytics, and that's something which has been giving, again, a lot of joy to myself because I'm able to uncover a lot of interesting elements on people's behaviors, on what exactly works, what does not work, and so forth, right? So when it comes to the significance, I would say it's very, very big because of the fact that we need to measure anything and everything else. We will not know whether is it a good success or if it's a bad thing. And it also gives us to the point where, especially where information, especially when things happening right now is a lot of instant gratification, a lot of things which will be extremely fast when it comes to the speed of how things are transforming, right? When we start to measure all these items, then you're able to understand, okay, so why are these changes being happening? Then we're able to understand the whys, right? One of the most difficult things we as marketers and analysts also is trying to figure out the whys, right? The whats, the whens, the hows, the wheres, usually we can able to figure out here and there, right? But the whys, so what we need, how do we uncover that whys is when we have good, solid, stable tools with good metrics to actually give us the kind of ammunition to answer our clients or even our businesses whys. Why is the website going so well? Why is that landing page not performing as good as I want it to be, right? So when we have a good holistic set of tools, namely Google Analytics for a starting point, we can able to see and measure and of course answer the whys, right? So that's the biggest significance I would see for any measuring tools. More importantly, Google Analytics, because of the fact that most importantly, it's free to use, right? And Google's been very nice to give to all these thousands and millions of users to actually use it for free. And that's why I would say it is coming out. The latest iteration is nothing short, but really, really great for our line of work.
There's a saying that in God we trust, the rest show me data.
That's very true. That's very true.
That's true. Yeah.
And so far, it's almost like present in 99.99% of websites for Google Analytics.
That is true. Yeah.
It's almost like the default thing that you do.
Correct.
and it's important for businesses because you want to know what's happening on your website.
That's true. Yeah.
And like like Nizar has mentioned, is where you basically, if you know what's happening and what's working, not working, then you can actually do the fixes on your website, because that's where the landing is from. If you're running ads or whatever it is, your
Correct.
website is the one that's working.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yes, Manfred.
Yeah, so this is a little bit similar to Google AdWords also. Yeah, where you have to see the data, because when you say you're not getting leads, the whole thing is not working. There can be 1001 reasons. Say example, the bounce rate is too high. Maybe the ad copy that leads to the page itself is not tally. Maybe the keyword is not found from the ad copy to a landing page. There might be a lot of clicks and very little lead sign up. So in between,
I think at the
you
end,
use GA
I mean,
to see the result itself.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
to
think
see the
GA
data
is
flow.
really more for actually measuring more things compared to Google AdWords. Because I think Google AdWords, you can find out things about your own campaign.
Yeah.
But I think Google Analytics is actually covering all things, even traffic coming from beyond your ad campaigns and even on Facebook ads and all this kind of thing. It's a more reliable tool, I think, to really
Anything
dive.
and everything that's happening on
More
your
for
website is
the
being tracked by Google.
more for the website. So as what Nizar has previously shared with me before, you can see the funnel visualization
Yep.
and also the reverse goal path. See who actually contribute the most, the journey most taken by people. So they give you a lot of insight. Yeah. So let the expert do the talking.
So
Seriously, I mean, yeah.
So just following up on this question, I think most people, when we start talking about like Manfred said about funnels and other things, it is kind of scary to go into this, and when we start talking about data, not many people are data geeks like you, or so we just want to say, okay, tell me what's happening on my website. So I think the follow-up question is, if you want to start an online business, what are the key things that you need to do? One, obviously, you need to understand your Facebook pixel if you're running ads. You may want to do the email if you are basically want to communicate with your users. And if you have a website, you need to have the GA. Now, knowing that, what are the minimum requirements needed in order to do GA?
Minimum requirements. Okay.
Minimum, are we talking about the technicality sense of terms? Or?
No, I would say if I'm starting this, right, and I'm not going agency, I'm a work alone, I'm a standalone person. I know how to build website, the Squarespace and all those things.
Yep.
Okay, now, what do I need to do in order to set up GA first? At least get the data in, or basically build that connection between my website and the GA.
I see. Okay. To be honest, it's extremely simple, guys.
Okay.
You just have to make sure you have a proper Gmail address. Obviously, now Google has opened up to even your company addresses or whatever address you're going to use. But it's best to use a Gmail address, purely because for me, right now we have lots of email addresses. So which email address is going to use for which, right? So have a proper Gmail address purely for your analytics purposes, right? So once that happens, you just sign up on analytics.google.com, and boom, you've already got your own analytics tool, right? And thereafter, you just create your tags. Your tagging for your tracking IDs. Then you just copy those codes. And right now, it's what you mentioned, and rightfully, all those I will call the software as a service kind of platforms like Wix, Shopify's, and all those websites on the go, right? What you see is what you get kind of platform. They would have specific sections for you to put in your GA codes. That's how easy it is, right?
Okay.
Once you've done it, so technically it's going to be like less than a 5-step process, requiring less than half an hour, right? Because once you start that, then you can see all the data sets flow. Because one of the most important things what you guys want to look is not just to understand people's behavior, but you also want to see trends. You want to see what exactly is happening. So you're able to predict these trends, right? So GA allows you to do that. They're able to give you very specific visualizations. As like Manfred has rightfully mentioned, some of them visualizations can be very easy to learn and absorb and digest also. Because how GA has also done their dashboarding, which metrics to be seen and what to be used, is all done to the science and across the millions of users who have used it previously. The iterations they've done is all based on actual marketers' behavior. So it's a very interesting fact, right? And when you see how they break down to from acquisition to engagement to monetization to even right now you can see e-commerce, because of the fact that there's so much e-commerce players out there, mom and pop shops to those big boys, right? It sees how important the world of e-commerce is, even in the world of GA. So they even have their own specific segment on that, right?
Oh, okay.
It's very easy for you to use. So it's very clear. You won't be like hunting and packing which menu it is. So at least you're able to see the important metrics so that you can able to make an informed decision, because it's all about optimizing, right? That's how that speed of things changing online. So when we have those tools with you, again, a very basic tool, but very powerful, you are basically arming yourself to ensure that you're always on top of the game when it comes to understanding your customers, right?
Right. I didn't know about the trend thing. Seriously, this is totally something totally new to me. But then again, it already made me feel so excited to go back to my GA already. Seriously, I haven't gone back like for donkey years.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably should go back. Okay, now we have some questions coming from the audience side. But then again, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to type in the comment section, whether
Yes.
you're on YouTube or Facebook. We're gonna pull them up and we're gonna bring them here. Now, first question is coming from Chiwai. I think this is more on his campaign that he's running right now. So Chiwai is asking, like, he has a weird encounter, which is despite the display campaign already finished like months ago, but under channels, it's still showing numbers. So any explanation on this? It's not like overflow, drip, or delivery, whatever ended long ago. So what would be your suggestion on this one, Nizar?
Okay, so what happens is this. So sometimes when this data comes in, right, and you can see like what's this drips and drabs coming in, usually it will be more of like bots. Bots can be coming in, those automatic traffic where it's not controlled by any humans per se, right? That can also flow into your website if your website is ranked high, if your ads has been going out very good relevancy score. So those elements would you still sometimes see those weird numbers, right? So, but I would say this is very much of an anomaly. Google is trying very hard. I mean, I'm not from Google itself, but they are also trying very hard to actually ensure that we get good, clean data when we actually when we actually analyze and look at our dashboards, right? So this might be an anomaly, Chiwei, but again, it's because you already ended the campaign months ago, and sometimes things still comes in. It might even be mock ads also, right? Sometimes when people run mock ads, when they actually Google runs some very specific mock ads also, that sometimes do happen, right? Having those kind of what we call phantom visitors also, right? So
But this could be also cache traffic, isn't it? Or cache browser
it
traffic.
can be. So it also depends on that cookies for that browsers itself. So again, there are many type of factors which
All right.
can.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to these kind of questions, right? My favorite answer is, let's take a look at your case, and if we have the opportunity. So if you guys want to work with Nizar, I'm actually bringing this up. Wait, I'm not able to immediately switch. I'm gonna bring up this link. If you want to connect, if you really need help in terms of Google Analytics, you remember just now Nizar mentioned that he runs an agency, more on specializing on digital marketing and data visualization,
intelligence insights,
stuff like that. So if you want to connect with Nizar, this is the link to actually connect with him on LinkedIn, where you guys can schedule maybe, if it's some paid gig that you guys can pay him, or you can engage Nizar to help you in terms of whatever that, you can actually, just solve your problem over there, right? So Chiwai, you get it? Okay, cool. Now, I think it's very important for us to really bring up this thing from time to time. So this is the link that you can connect with Nizar on LinkedIn. Now we have another question coming from the audience as well. This is from Yvan. I think Yvan is asking, this is a very good question. How to know when to use Google Universal Analytics and the latest GA4?
In fact, it's a question which I got commonly asked also.
Yeah.
Again, there is no right or wrong answer for this, right? It all depends if you're because there is some learning curve when it comes to GA4, right? The main difference between these two measuring tools is their measuring model, right? If you look at it closely, the Universal Analytics had a lot more definitions when it comes to the events, their page views, their sessions, their bounce rates. But when it comes to GA4, everything is being done through only events, right? So
Yeah.
so there's a whole different thing. Even bounce rate, they've removed it altogether, right? Even your conversion goals, your goals has been removed already. So they have packed it in a different manner, different way of doing things. So there will be a slight learning curve when it comes to GA4, but ultimately that's where Google will be going, and they will definitely be deprecating universal analytics some in the near future, right? So it's best if you guys can invest a little bit of time just to understand a little bit of GA4. So far, what my team has done when it comes to GA4, we have got some great insights on it. There's some really great ways on how to look at data differently. It's exactly like how I told people. Sometimes you can look at this glass half full, or maybe but we are seeing it half empty, right? So how Google Analytics 4 has done and reworked on some of its measuring models. Yes, there were some pros and cons. Not everything is like done in a very nice manner. We were like, oh, what happened to my other metrics I was showing, right? But we also know where exactly Google is heading because of the fact of the new metrics. They were giving us new insights, right? And one of the most important and most exciting thing I would say for GA4 is that you can leverage on Google's immense machine learning capabilities. So it's just by, instead of you hunting and packing like how you do previously for Universal Analytics when it comes to all your dashboarding and your reports and your metrics, you just have to type in your search. Like say, for instance, what was my users like for the last month? What is the baseline like? Why did they come in there? So if you ask that very interesting, or shall I say, simple human semantic approach questions, you'll be surprised to see what sort of results you'll get based on your website performance on GA4. So that's what I'm seeing that trend again on GA4. So again, back to that question, no right time, but I will also invest a little bit of time to go and study or just take a little 1 hour course. I'll share with you guys some of the resources for GA4, which I personally has done so far on YouTube, right? Yeah.
Awesome. That'll be
But
great.
Google is already moving, I think like you mentioned, they're going to deprecate the Google Analytics.
Yeah.
So my advice is, forget about comparing with the old analytics, Universal Analytics. Just go straight with GA4. Because that's moving forward. I mean, no point looking at the past and say, I wish it were like this and ain't gonna happen. Google is gonna come back.
Yeah.
But personal experience is GA4 is a lot more simplified. End of the day is this. Unless you want to show off to your friends and say how technical I am, you just want information, and information that suits you and helps you with your business. To me, personally speaking, GA4 actually achieves that. Too much data sometimes also can be kind of
analysis paralysis. That's what you get.
Analysis paralysis. I like that. Okay, then eventually we have Chiwai saying that he wanted to let it off his chest.
By all means,
He hated GA4. Well, to be frank, very little experience I have with GA4, but I heard a lot about it, and I believe like what Nizar and Andrew mentioned just now. This is actually the way forward. This is what's going to happen anyway. So might as well just go and change it. Okay lah. I'll spend some time going to learn it. Oh my god, seriously. Because the moment you say that we lose a lot of numbers and metrics and all that, I kind of like feel a bit worried. But then again, I believe.
No, the problem is you're not looking at it in the first place, anyways. So nothing that you see.
That's very true. That's very true. Analysis paralysis. I like that.
And also for us humans, in a psychological perspective, also, right? We hate changes, right? And when I was using Universal for the longest time, and suddenly they said to change it, and like, oh my goodness, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Of course, I also feel frustrated. To be honest, it wasn't a smooth journey for me to also, right? Because I had like to deal with my clients and I tell them, hey guys, you know what? I don't think we can measure this, but we'll measure it in a different manner altogether, right? Or we shouldn't be seeing this because it is, hey, why is that chart differently? Why am I not seeing that metrics in that manner? Why is that ratio different, right? So there is a little bit, again, that learning curve, right? But once you guys have it, once you guys absorb it, digest it, you will taste sweetness and joy.
Yeah.
Sweetness and joy.
Definitely, guys. I'm using 2 superlatives in one sentence. Yeah.
That's good one. Okay, I guess the really like it's really up to you. Back to just now Evan's questions. When is the good time to adopt? Like how Nizar puts it rightfully, which is whenever you're ready, right? There's no good time or bad time. So I would say
Set it up now.
yeah.
Collect data first.
But it's a
Don't
separate
worry
thing,
about it.
right? If we talk about like now, I have the Universal, and if I want to set up the GA4, do I need to do extra settings?
It's only 3 steps maximum. I think 4 steps for you to
Correct.
set
So you
up.
just have to go inside your
Yeah.
admin panel.
There'll
you
be prompt
the
to
game
tell you
and they ask you for a
to.
setup. And the setup is very, again, it's almost Google holding your hand holding you, step by step. It's quite clear, simple, concise English being used, and to be honest, it's quite straight up.
Click
So when I
next, click
transform
next.
it over, sorry, Andrew.
So
Yeah.
you basically click next and you'll set it up. What is happening is this: you're not transferring the data from your old analytics to GA. The moment you set up GA4 is new data, but your old one is still running. So the idea is Google wants you to have these 2 data streams running concurrently. So
Correct.
that's all.
Correct.
So if you want to look at the GA4, you can. If you say I'm not comfortable, I still want to rely on my analytics until one day Google say we are no longer supporting it, you can still look at it. But you're not losing any data. It's just another collector, also called another listener from Google, to basically analyze your data, your web data.
But I want to bring this question slightly further to the next
Sure.
step, because I think Nizar mentioned, one of the unique capability of the GA4 is you're able to now tap on the very powerful AI machine learning at the back. How can we use it? How can we really use it? Can you give us some example? As in, like, because to me, it's like I thought the analytics is about my own website and visitors. How can I use the AI to fuel my growth? How can I learn something from that?
Sure. So I just have to let you guys know also that Universal Analytics has that. So it started with Universal Analytics having that very specific insights tab, right? But for GA4, they supercharge it. They really supercharge it in terms of how, again, it varies when different users. Sometimes you'll tell, some of the users which I've met also didn't really like that insights. They prefer to see they prefer to read their data and the metrics and the graphs on their own rather than typing it out. At the same time, I also seen some groups of people among my clients who loves to use the insights. So they just go insights, and then because the insights has preset questions also, right? Even in the sense of where it actually shows. Let me just pull it out so I can share a little bit on the suggested questions.
You want to share screen?
Yeah, I can. Let me just.
Yeah, if you want to, you may. It's okay. You just slowly.
I think I'll just narrate it because there's some sensitive data here.
Oh, of course, I understand. Totally.
So basically, what happens is this, right? So when you just click on the insights button, automatically 6 questions to 7 questions will appear, which collates them into these taxonomies. Nomenclatures like basic performance, demographics, user acquisition, traffic analysis, technology, and e-commerce. So when you click on any one of those, they will already have very specific questions like, under basic performance, how many users did I have last week? Where are my top pages and screen by views? Or how many users this year? What are my top events by users? So they have all these preset questions for you. You click on it, Google will automatically pull all your data from your website only for yourself, and then you're able to see it very specifically with the specific metrics and the visualizations for you. So in just that instance, you're able to get that data sets out from. It's like you have your own data analyst sitting inside your Google data. Your Google Analytics tool, right? So that's something which I find it very refreshing. Yes, it was prevalent in the Universal Analytics, but I could see that it got even better. Again, supercharged when it comes to the GA4 iteration. Right? So,
the AI basically makes it more user friendly.
Yes, it does.
And by the way, Google GA4 is basically a former a transition from when you have analytics, you have Google Web plus App. Remember?
Yep, it used to be called that. Yep, you're right.
We used to call Web plus App. Now they have basically grown it into
GA4. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That assures me. I mean, that helps in terms of Okay.
It's not something new. They've been testing it for many, many years already under the guise of Web plus App.
Yep, that's
because to be frank, while you're actually speaking, I actually went into my GA and go into insights for the first time. Never used it.
I see.
So now I went in for the first time. I kind of okay, now I know what the hell it's all about, right? But
correct.
Okay, thank you for pointing that out. And okay, now let's go on with some questions to help beginners. Like I said, we have a lot of so-called audiences who are totally new to GA, right?
Yeah.
So basically, maybe this could be a very like a beginner's question, but you have been talking about advantages. Okay, maybe what are the disadvantages of adopting the Google Analytics? Maybe you can give both, if there is any, or maybe you would say there is none.
Give you guys all the advantages, but disadvantage. That's a very interesting question.
See, the thing is, in order to understand the disadvantage, you got to compare against something.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's just like, if I have this and I don't have this,
That's very
but
true.
what if you don't have this is not available? Technically, there's no disadvantage.
Very good, Andrew. I think that was a very good kickstart to restart some of my brain synapses, right? So
Can I join in a bit?
Yeah,
So normally for Google Analytics, when I first touch on the thing, I keep thinking that it's almost an equivalent for SEO, where you wanted to understand the website. But unfortunately, GA can see paid ad keyword. They don't really can see the organic keywords unless you put the Google Search Console connected. Yeah, you need to connect Google Search Console to see organic keywords. You need to connect your Google AdWords to see paid keywords. But even you connect the Google Search Console with GA, they don't spell out the keywords performance like the AdWords. That's one thing I see lah. So Nizar, if I'm wrong, please correct me.
No, that's fine. That's right.
Yeah, the organic part is a little bit lagging in GA, if you ask me. Then if you play with SEMrush or Ahrefs, you realize that of course these two tools are not in the same league. But if you because I'm looking in the point of SEO, I'd rather spend more time on SEMrush or Ahrefs rather than GA. But of course, I like to stress these two things are different because when I first started, I thought GA is equivalent to search engine optimization. That's my take lah.
I think that's a good angle to look at it, because I think there will be a bunch of people who will think like Manfred as well.
Yeah.
I do believe that. But then again, I think Manfred did a very good explanation about these two are actually coming from different leagues.
Yep.
I do agree that when it comes to organic keywords and all that, you can't find a lot of things from GA.
Surprising, That's pretty surprising. Totally.
Unless you start to pay Google to make sure you're paying Google.
I think even
also there are services that we can pay Google for that.
There are third-party service also.
Yeah, you do have.
The premium version got, but I don't think.
No, not as much, right? I would say that you will see a little bit more when you start to connect your GA, your Google Ad Manager into your Google Analytics, right? Then you can start seeing a little bit more of your customer profile, your audience segmentations and stuff, right? So that's one of the key things about this, right?
So this could be one of the disadvantage lah. I mean, if you want to try to see the SEO data, then GA is not the right tool. I wouldn't say it's a disadvantage. It's just not the right tool, right?
Yeah, and I found out there's one disadvantage is that it's very easy to learn. That's one thing.
Okay.
There's the pros for it, right? But one of the biggest disadvantages is like how most of, or I say not all Google products, but for this particular Google Analytics, it's difficult to master, right? Because when you want to start to go in very deep in, you want to start to come up very specific events, though they make it easier, right? And honestly, they make it easier for people to actually customize their events, their conversions, because that's the real goal of Google Analytics, right? To understand that conversions aspect, right? Because most of it is vanity metrics. So you can see the numbers, you can see this and the users, but what exactly does it do for my business? That's when the magic of Google Analytics help through conversions, through events, through what we used to call in Universal Analytics, to goals. Specific events takes into a very specific goal, right? So those bits previously was very difficult, right? Even up to now, there were some ways you still got to like, okay, how do I really go about doing this? Okay, where do I put these tags, right? How about that page refs and stuff? So you need to also understand a little bit of, I would say HTML, right? Though again, Google has its own library where you can copy and paste and put it inside. So that should be, but you still need to go and figure it out. So that's why I think one of the biggest disadvantages is that it's quite difficult to master it, right? So to really hold it very close to your chest and say, right, you know what, I kind of master how Google is. Unfortunately, Google doesn't go with that mantra, right? But it's easy to learn. It's very easy to learn, easy to pick up. At least you can start to use it from day one, also, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
Manfred,
I'd
you want to
just
say?
like to add something. If I'm not wrong, I last used GA, maximum 100 goals, right? 100
Yeah,
goals,
yes,
the
it's
free
100,
version.
100, yeah,
100 goals, and you cannot delete the goals once you created the goals. It's
so,
damn irritating because you got old goals,
yeah,
rank 1, 2, 3, 4.
You can
Then
replace them and it's
rank
random. Yes.
goal 17 is actually the one that you want to do. Then you have to go through. Then you cannot delete. That's one thing. Then the other thing is a free tool. Okay, then you don't. Then the other thing is I work with some of my fellow learners who are very new. Even traditional marketeers try to do digital marketing. They also struggle. So the learning part can be not so straightforward. Okay, just like Facebook advertising or Google AdWords also. Not so straightforward. It's not exactly easy to learn.
yeah,
It takes a bit of time, especially the behavior flow. They got lost to see the
Yeah.
thing.
yeah.
I think
That's one
partly
reason.
because there are many usage.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's not
Yeah.
like Facebook ads or Google ads, right? It's very straightforward. You come in, you know what you want, right? But when
Yeah.
it comes to Google Analytics, it seems to me that it has many usage. Depends whether you want to do data visualization or you want to do attribution tracking or
Yeah.
you want to do
Yeah.
goal setting. I think that makes it a little bit fragmented for people to
Yeah.
really like.
Yeah,
I
because
think.
it can be go good ways because because they're trying to see, because again, this is like a mass product, right? It needs to
Yep.
cater to every needs across the different spectrum, right? So
Right.
it reminds me also, like, because for me, because I love Excel also, right? I work with a lot of Excel every day because of the data work and everything. And I also see it as how when Google does their pivoting, right? When it comes to the diametrics, mentions and metrics, how exactly that's been done, the groupings, there's so many nestings, as in you can go deep inside there, right? It reminds me of how my struggle with when I was starting out with Excel, when I started this the pivot table, like, oh my goodness, how do I nest this out? Why does it look different when I put in this x-axis and y-axis? Or why does it mean there's a sub nest inside it? I didn't know that, right?
Right.
So those things,
I'm lost,
yes,
man.
it was
Yeah.
frustrating, but I believe, I mean, personally, I believe that when you put in a little more effort, and then when you see that end deliverable output, I think it tastes slightly sweeter, lah.
Right.
So then you can even say, okay, I managed to figure
Fitness enjoy, right?
then I said, now I know why when you put into that metrics and dimensions, that's the whole why it shows that kind of grouping, right? Because of the fact that the amount of data which flows in for this country is different from that. So that's how I would say lah, right? So again, it goes back to the advantage, right? So so that's what I would say lah, right?
I
Yeah.
think the thing that Google in general, I mean, all across all Google products, the frustration I have is, I mean, they have the information. Okay, if you want to look for on Google Help and help desk, wherever it is, they have the information. But it is not suitable for, or it's not for a layman person. It's like, I can give you the whole encyclopedia. The information is there for what you want to learn, and here's the book. The information is there. The problem is, out of 2,000 or 3,000 pages, where are you going to search? And when you read this, it's written in such a way that it's so technical. After the first paragraph, you gave up. And there is literally no videos whatsoever. So if I say I want to set up GA4, they will have like 4 or 5 pages on the help section to tell you what you need to do. But there is no visualization or even screenshot sometimes as to where do you click, what do you do, and there's no video training.
I kind of agree though.
Yeah.
I always find
search on
Google
YouTube lah.
knowledge base is crazy.
Yeah, knowledge, the information is there.
It's not for human, no?
Yeah, it's not for human. It's not for you and I.
Yeah. But
So-
just want to
so-
add, sometimes you can watch certain YouTube videos, they cover, but not all everything. So you still can help. Then there's one thing I like about GA, because you see, you learn Google AdWords, you learn Facebook advertising, you need to spend to do. Okay, but for GA, when you're as a beginner, just press every single thing. You won't crash. You won't crash. And the second thing is, so for GA, you can actually port in certain data, because GA normally when you started is empty.
Yeah.
So Google actually, I can't remember exactly where you need to port in data. Then they have a sample data for you to play with.
That's from the e-commerce marketplace, right? Google's
Yeah, e-commerce marketplace.
So it's,
Yeah.
it's actually based on their real e-commerce
Yes.
website, their merchandise website.
That's a live site, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
live site, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a
you
live,
can play
live
with
site.
it.
You
Live,
can
but
actually
you can
buy
play with
stuff
it.
and all those things there for
So it's
their
very
Google
interesting
merchandise.
how they've done it, right? So
So
and it also helps that because of the fact that when it comes to that trainings also, right? When we even the trainings from Skillshop, right? Yes, they give us a lot of good information, but you still need to really focus. You know, when you want to take the exam, the certifications. So Google make you. You know, they don't want you to have an easy road to climb. Like that's all I can say.
Very
Right?
true.
So, but once you reach the summit, then you'll be like, yeah, you know. So that's something interesting. But I again, because also I learned a lot about psychoanalysis and how people are doing their cognitive bias and all this. So there will always be reasons for this, right? And because again, it's supposed to be catered for the mass, for the huge spectrum of people, right? So that
From zero to professionals, hyper professionals,
that's true.
no
That's
choice.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So that's why you are actually this is a machine like that can go up to the Ferrari level. But if you're only wanting a bike, then you have to choose to learn the bike section part of knowledge that you need to actually kind of use this. It's like really like transforming. It could be a bike until a Ferrari. So it depends on how you want to use it, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But the
cool.
road
I think
to
that's a very
success
good.
is not straight.
That's a good
Of course
analogy,
not.
yeah, Jason. Reminds me of my Legos at behind because all my Legos.
Yeah, I've actually I
Okay,
learned
so
from some of the
much-
guesses. I
No,
actually forgot.
basically, yeah, the situation is this. I want to go from A to B. And what Google did is gave me a freaking rocket and says, here's a vehicle to help you to take from Google A to
Yeah,
A to B.
Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct,
And you're like, okay, I just want to go there. Can you like give me something more simple?
Yeah,
No, here's a freaking rocket and there's like 10,000 controls. You want to learn, you want to go to B, learn.
yeah. And what Manfred says is correct also. You have to click on it because you can never crash Google.
Very
Yeah,
true.
true.
Crash, yeah.
Yes.
So just go in and play, and you'll not lose data anyways, right? So
Yeah.
just see how exactly. I mean, if worst comes to worst, close the browser, then open up again, right?
Yes.
So you have to go and experiment because only when you do your trials, only when you try and literally you try and experiment, that's when you're able to uncover some really interesting stuff from on about the web property which you're measuring using Google Analytics.
So for beginners in digital marketing can actually start with this. So you have actually one up on this already. Then the most important of all is able to see information and decipher the information and give informed decision, advise the bosses or the client.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see from your Google Analytics acquisition that the Google Ads account, your bounce rate is too high already. Hence, all this campaign is not. Then you're there already. Then from there, you build on other skill sets. So it's easier lah. It's easier.
All right.
I
So
like
the
that,
first
I like
step
that.
the first step is basically to. That's why I say it's important. Once you have data, you can basically see the significance. So the first step is actually connect your website to GA.
Yeah.
fact,
That's
seriously-
make first step first, yeah. And that's
Yeah, I
it.
totally agree. But in fact, right, because I get to work with quite a number of new digital marketing. I mean, people or they have their own website. They started their e-commerce website and all that. I would say there are still quite a percentage of people who do not know about GA.
I see.
Surprisingly, and I work with clients from all around the world.
Mhm.
And yes, even people coming from the state and all that, they have no clue. So I think this really gives us a very clearer angle to look at this thing, which is you have to do this anyway. So it's like you need to have Google Analytics and you need to have Facebook Pixel. I think these are the two things. Okay.
To add a little more, Jason, regarding
Sure.
with analytics also, right? I'm also seeing a trend of all this Wix, this Shopify's and all those having their own analytics also at the back. Right?
Oh,
So
Yes,
they
they
have
do.
analytics at the back also, which kind of have, and it's very simplified, right? So and it's something interesting because it will also be sufficient enough so to the point where I don't need a Google Analytics anymore, right? I have this dashboard which caters to my business, caters to the website. It comes free, right? It comes with my whole platform. Why not I use it? So we have seen trends of people going through, especially the small business owners. We've also seen some very specific clients of ours which having very specific businesses, which also when they absorb, or shall I say, when they employ this tactical features on their website, they will also have this built-in dashboards for them also. So we are
Right.
seeing that. So I mean, again, no right or wrong as long as you guys have it. But again, as what I think for the audience, if you guys want to know deeper, then and to see even richer sets of data, then Google Analytics will come in very, very handy for you guys.
But here's the word of caution though. I mean, I come from a position where I want to have control over what sort of tools I want to use.
Mhm.
And yes, I also build websites on my website's on Wix. And you have to do not be lulled into that comfort zone where if Wix can give you the analytics and you rely on it, and you're not going to do Google Analytics. What happens if one day you found a cheaper solution that you can host your website and you want to get out of Wix? The problem is you're so reliant on Wix, all the data is there, you're stuck, you cannot get out.
Yeah.
But if you have similar data running in the background with Google Analytics or GA4, whatever website you do, as long as the domain is the same, you will still retain the data, and then you can still analyze from it. So, if you want to make it simplified based on whatever platform you do, yes, but that's why I say by all means, set up GA, start collecting data, even if you don't look at it, it's okay, because the moment it's turned on, the data will flow. If you don't turn it on, there's no information whatsoever.
Very nice. Nicely said, Andrew. Yep.
Nice. That's a good one. So guys, you guys know, despite you have some whatever built-in tools with your Wix or whatnot, it is still advisable to have your Google Analytics. But then again, it also brings back to the next question. For a lot of beginners, right? You were saying that yes, plug it in and then basically let the data flow. If you look at it, fine. If you don't look at it, it will still be there. But then again, can you quickly share with us, Nizar, what are the kind of reports or so-called whatever analysis models or whatnot that I can actually get out from GA that you can quickly get those beginners excited about? Okay, I need to go GA because I can learn about this and all that.
Again, for new GA4, something really exciting is that they were able to give you a very specific view, which is almost like a report snapshot. The best thing is they even changed the taxonomy, or shall I say the nomenclature, for the word on the left on the menu itself, which basically calls report snapshot. So it's in a very dashboard-like menu where you're able to see your
the squares.
Yeah, correct, squares. And so and one thing also very interesting is they even put in specific, instead of titles putting like users, they now call it where are your users coming from. So it's extremely easy. So the minute you see it, you're able to get your user reports, your audience reports, your acquisition reports, right? Where your traffic is coming, right? What are they doing on your website? Which landing page or which page is getting the most visitors? So all those very specific screen caps will be made available to you. So in a way, to answer your question, Jason, directly, that whole homepage when you arrive on GA4 is your reports per se, right? Because they have really named reports there on your left-hand side. So you're able to see like, okay, this is my report. So again, they don't like construe, okay, you can, of course, create your own reports out of there, but by default, you already have a very nice, very simple, very easy to digest reporting format as your homepage already, right? So it'll tell you about your users, it'll tell you about where the traffic is coming from, and so forth, right? So, and you can even customize that if you want, right? But just look at what they have there, and it will give you enough information to see the health of your website.
Awesome.
And in UA, you need to build it on your own, right? You need to.
UA is a different taxonomy. So they have it all different. The way they categorize it differently. Though we can still see it, but you have to still hunt it back, and they break it by link by users.
I know it's kind of complicated for you.
Or
Never gone there.
acquisition,
Never.
behavior, conversion.
And I believe for UA you can get there's a reports tab there, and then they were able to categorize it into like behavior, conversion, user,
acquisitions, audience. Four different types.
Awesome. You got me lost anyway. So anyway, I think I probably have to go back to my GA and see whatever it is, right? And we have some comment from Chiwai. He said he tried to provide Data Studio for clients as a campaign dashboard. Even you hate it.
That's something.
Why?
Why lah?
I think the trick is this. Your data studio, most customers is they just want to see the information. So you need to understand what information they want and use data studio to build that. And all they need to do is press the button, look at the chart, and that's it.
Correct.
If you ask them and say, okay, here's data studio, and you can model whatever information you want, and this is how you do it, and they're gonna be very, very angry with you.
So sorry.
Yeah, please go on.
So this also begets another question. So this is coming into the world of data visualization. So what happens is for my clients, I ensure that their dashboard on Google Data Studio does not look like a dashboard. What I mean by that is that I create a story, or shall I say my team will create a story for them, right? And using only very specific metrics. And then we will also write a very specific insights in that. So it doesn't look like a dashboard. It just shows them what exactly is happening. So we will answer their business objective and we put it into that site. Like say, for instance, right? I'll like to know whether my campaign performs well, right? So we will draw, or we'll have, because the fact of the matter is GDS or Google Data Studio allow us to embed images, graphics and stuff, so we can beautify them, right? So we'll put in very specific images of their website, and then we'll draw very specific arrows, drawing specific funnels, telling them, okay guys, this is where your users coming from. Then we pull very specific metrics from GA. Let's say the user acquisition. I'll pull that, I'll plug it into that on the left-hand side. So they'll say, okay, so this is where the user comes in. And then what did they do? Then I'll write it. I will draw maybe a very specific graphic or whatever. Not my team will do it, and then we will pull out what exactly is the things and the events they do it. So in a way, we kind of story sell them. We have a very specific narrative. So it's not just metrics, top line ratios and visuals and scatter plot graphs and tree map graphs, and it looks beautiful. But after a while, when you ask people what do you understand from this, they're like, okay, this is a nice chart. I find it very hard to analyze. It's too much numbers and stuff like that, right? So what we did was we minimized, we declutter all of it, and we created in a very easy manner so that it becomes enjoyable. So that's one thing good.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So it becomes to a point where it does not sound like I'm reporting, right? It sounds like, okay, this is a sharing session for everyone. Wow, what is this? Okay, this is what's happening to your campaign. What do you do? What happened? And what is the end goal? So we will visualize it beautifully on GDS, because again, GDS is like a PowerPoint, right? You start on a clean blank slate and you're able to pull all this information inside. So for those out there, Google Data Studio is basically a free word, visualizing tool from Google. If its competitors are like Tableau, Power BI, right?
Those are expensive stuff.
But they're great. I've used them. They're great tools. But the flexibility of Google Data Studio, and you have tons of templates out there. You can just copy paste into them, and just point the data sets into your Google Analytics. Now,
I gotta try this.
And so it's again, it's because of the fact that I hate reports. To be honest with you, I hated to do reports when I was in my formative years in advertising. Like, oh man, I have a screen cap, and suddenly when you just see a typo when you're presenting, you're like, oh goodness. But people don't know that you spend late nights doing that. There's a reason why there's a typo, So I negate that whole aspect. I told guys, why don't we look at dashboards, right, as a form of reporting? Then I look at the dashboards that people are doing, like, oh my goodness, it's so cluttered. What exactly are you trying to tell here, right? What's the objective in this? Then we recreated that dashboard into more like a story where we have. So we only display very important metrics which is relevant to the campaign. At the same time, we show them what exactly that journey is, right? So, and that's the beauty about it. And one final thing about GDS, you can not just only pull out Google data, Google Analytics data, but you can pull out from a lot of different sources, right? You can Excel, you can pull from Facebook, you can pull from quite a lot. There's hundreds and hundreds, and the list is growing, right? So you can just some of them have to be paid, but some of them is free. So then just plug in the data insights, and voila, you can get everything in one single view.
GDS.
That sounds powerful, and I like the whole idea of that's reporting at the next level. You make the whole reporting enjoyable. I think that's
correct.
that's why I believe you don't charge cheap. Because that is the
That is
part of
objective.
work.
The word cheap is
Yeah.
objective. It's cost effective, my dear Jason.
Correct. You see, you cut off all the work that you need to, because here's the thing. I totally agree with Nizar over here, because in the past 10 years running an agency, though I stopped it already, but then again, one of the biggest pain was reporting, because to be very frank, every time we put up a metric or whatever report, and we would think that, oh, this is awesome, right? I give you so much data, but the problem is people don't understand.
Yeah.
So when they don't understand, no matter how much info you put it in, right, it defeats the purpose. They don't get the idea. They don't get informed.
That's true.
When they don't get informed, they don't know what to do next. And you blame the client because you don't tell me. But then again, this is like the two-way thing. But I like the way you do this, Nizar.
Simplicity comes with a cost.
This is brilliant. This is brilliant. So I think that will bring us to the next question, which probably will be our last question tonight, because we're supposed to ask. Yeah, it's already almost an hour. But okay. So because we are all looking at, because I truly believe that GA is already powerful itself, but what are the other tools that could actually help level up, help us get more things out of GA? Like one of the things that you mentioned just now is the Google Data Studio.
Yeah. I think that's quite so for in my tech stack, which we use for our clients and even for our businesses, is basically Google Data Studio, Google Analytics. We also use Hotjar, right?
Hotjar.
So Hotjar is really interesting. It's a paid tool though, but I think it's something
You can use for free for a while. I see.
Yeah, you can use free for a while, but features are
short.
very limited, right?
Yeah.
But one thing great about Hotjar is it actually, because I'm a very visual person, as I think from now you guys will know what I'm a very visual person, it visualizes the customer journey.
Wow.
It even records your customer. So you literally see the mouse moves on your website, and it hovers around the area for a while. You're able to detect different heat maps, right? Again, very specific use case. Not everyone would want to use it, right? But because of the fact that for our use case was more an understanding the UI UX of a website, right? It's a different layer, right? So that's the reason why. And Google Analytics, I think it used to have heat maps in real time, but I think they kind of deprecate that. I'm not sure, I might be wrong. But when I saw Hotjar and I saw how great its features were, especially its heat map tool and its mouse tracking tool, I was quite blown away by it, right? So I use that, I amalgamate that data set with my Google Analytics, and it gave me a great sense of the achievements of the deliverables itself, right? Again, also, I also like to point out that usually, as what, again, Andreas rightfully mentioned also, we don't always look at one source of data, right? We try our very best to see, not as many, of course, we also get analysis paralysis, but between 2 to 4 sets of data sources, right? So you're able to see, okay, what is the error rate? Is it really, because we also know that there's the world of bots, the world of spam bots, right? Which comes in. So what is the error? What's the key differences between the visitor rates and the visitor numbers also makes a role. So as you can know, different platforms will have different ways of measuring. But if everything is done and set up correctly, you're able to see not much of, just 2 to 3% in terms of the data variance, data difference in that sense, right? So Hotjar, I would say, would be a great tool. For measuring, I think that's basically, because to be honest, up to today, I'm still exploring GA4, guys, to be honest with you, right? So I'm still, because I'm also part of the feedback Google group, where I actually get some invites by getting new features, testing out new beta programs. So those are some of the elements I'm testing it out also. Some really interesting stuff which they have, especially when it comes to their analysis tools and the deeper tools, right? So far that has pretty much been sufficient for me. But the reason why I brought up Hotjar is because it's not available in Google Analytics, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. And do you have anything to add on in terms of tools that you probably use and you can share with us?
I think for somebody who is starting out, when you talk about the worry about bots or error rate, for example, unless your website is drawing like 1 million visitors a day, which none of us, I don't know, I'm for me, definitely not. You don't have to worry too much. So if you have like even 100,000 visitors a day, you're pretty hot already. Anyways, so the tech stack for me is obviously have Facebook pixel set up, analytics use GA, and if you want to do a bit of SEO, for example, you then tie it to the Google Search Console.
Yep.
Okay, and if you have a website, it could be a WordPress, it could be Wix. Get something that you basically that is hosted outside. So Wix, Squarespace, get it up, and all these have very simple so-called steps to allow you to integrate. So you don't have to go through the Google documentations. Within these features itself, they tell you step one, do this, get this information from GA, copy and paste, like Nizar has mentioned, and then you can get it set up. Once you have these four, it is a good start for you already.
I think the Google AdWords also can connect to GA also.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
Running AdWords,
these are the things that we should actually get connected.
So for traffic, is Facebook and Google AdWords or Google Search. For analytics, you use GA. And then if you want for website search, SEO, for example, you use Google Search Console.
Yeah.
Cool.
To see what is inside. Then just add one more is the Google Trend to see if you have two different kind of words itself. Where if you see the same thing, then you want to see which one is more popular. Google Trends can help you take a look from there.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Manfred, what is your website of the week? But, while Manfred is preparing, guys, I already put up the link that you can actually go over and connect with Nizar on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And I think after the whole 1 hour sharing from Nizar, you know that, the whole crazy Google Analytics is actually way more than, it's like, seriously, it's a rocket, like how Andrew mentioned it. And, you want to get from point A to point B using rocket, of course, it's going to be a little bit difficult. But then again, this is a rocket that can be simplified into a bike. So, learn the bike side of the rocket, instead of, diving into the damn rocket side of the rocket anyway. So if you still need help,
maybe one day we should get Nizar back to talk about Google Data Studio.
Oh yes.
Oh my God, that's cool, man. Yeah, maybe we can do some
We have the
walkthrough.
data now. It's data presentation. I think that's something that a lot of people would like to know.
That'll be cool. But if you need help, as companies, and you probably really need help urgently to try to visualize your data to help, your team make decision, then you can connect with Nizar, and he provides services like this. Like he mentioned just now, he does data storytelling. How beautiful is that, right? So do that, okay? Go over and connect with, over there with Nizar, and I'm going to bring it up. Manfred, you ready?
Are you good?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to bring it up. What is the link?
So since this is the first week of 2022, let's take a look at my LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
You see, this is my LinkedIn profile. Right. Just I refresh a bit, see whether you can see the small little thing that Madrid actually told me. Then I actually did something.
You updated the LinkedIn profile information.
Yeah. You take a look first. Let me refresh.
Okay.
So you will load up again.
While we're waiting for you to refresh, let me bring this down.
Manfred, we will send you the invoice for your plug.
Our own advertisement.
Yes.
Start of the year already,
That's
so fast,
No, you should send it to LinkedIn. I'm actually promoting their feature. Because I think a
we
lot
should
of
put
people,
LinkedIn there.
a lot of people are not aware about this thing. Sorry,
so is it
obviously.
you have to tell LinkedIn. This shows how slow their website really looks.
Okay, you can see my face, right?
What's the magic?
Right?
Okay, tell us.
Tell us. What, your face will turn into a woman?
Yeah. Too many things loading.
Boston Consulting Group.
Okay. Not sure you're promoting LinkedIn or the other way around, man.
LinkedIn promoting me.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, tell us.
It's supposed to change it to a video.
Oh, you mean that little...
Oh, there.
Oh,
Scary freak, man.
Wow.
How are you doing there, man? Seriously?
Okay, so...
Do you really talk?
I really talk.
Hi, this is Manfred. With an in-depth experience of digital marketing, I feel compelled to
Can you
share
hear the audio now?
online.
Yes, you can. Loud and
Together
clear.
with Jason and Andrew, we created the 3 Marketeers show. It is a Facebook and YouTube live show that covers digital marketing and entrepreneurship. It goes live every Wednesday, 10 p.m. GMT+8. Come, join us.
Okay.
Awesome.
The main thing is that this video you must upload via the handphone. You can't do it on the desktop.
It's a story, right? It looks like a story to me.
30
Yeah,
seconds,
LinkedIn
30 seconds
stories,
to let people see your face, see whether they want to connect with you, just in case you're a robot. Lah.
Anyway, guys, since Manfred put it out, right? If you want to connect with Manfred, yeah, you just go over and I wanted to plug you. You take it down. It's your choice. Anyway, that's where you go and connect with Manfred.
Look for
You
Manfred
took it down
Shi,
already,
the
but you
one and
remember his
only
name,
Manfred
right?
Shi.
You just want to go over and look at the creepy talking head, you can go over. I think that's what we do, right? So, okay, really, I mean, that brings us to the end of the show tonight. Thank you so much for all the awesome sharing, Nizar.
No problem.
Really,
No
we
worries.
might bring you back one day if you're
We
open
will
to
bring
that
you
to
back
talk
for
about
a
the
Very
next
happy
video.
to share
Google
more.
Data Studio. I'd love to really look at how you do your magic over there.
We
Right?
arrange
Very
we
awesome.
arrange the time to get
Can-
Nizar back.
Thank you, everyone.
So, yeah,
Next week we are getting our old friend Ian back again.
Yeah, Ian answered 2 questions last week, so we probably
Yeah,
will get him to answer another
he
remaining.
has
Out
a
of what,
string of
7?
questions out of 10. Actually, more than
Out of
10.
47 questions, Manfred was really like, Manfred being Manfred, right? So, so next week,
So we
Ian is
cannot let
coming
him
back.
go so easily. He will come back and answer more questions and
Awesome.
review him more.
Fantastic.
Awesome,
Great.
awesome. And thank you so much, Nizar, for
Thanks for
joining
having
us
me on
tonight.
the
And
call.
yeah.
Thanks for having me on the show.
But okay, so guys, this is what we do on a Wednesday night. If you want to learn more about Google marketing, search engine marketing, SEM, like Google Ads, we're gonna come back. We're gonna bring Ian back next week to talk about this, and that's what we do on Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Malaysia time, GMT +8. And I'll see you next week. Thank you so much, and good night.
Good night, guys.
Take care.